I've never seen such infinite beauty in my life. It's like a curtain or a spider web. Can you see it? It's right here in front of me, right now. Watch. No. Oh, good heavens. You know what went through me? It passed right through me.
Hey guys. Today's Taylor Swift Day. Maybe not by the time I get this posted, but it's Taylor Swift Day. I'm going to go pick up, I'm off from work today. I'm going to go pick up Inez from school early, preschool early, and we're going to go to the record store. And we're going to buy the new Taylor Swift record. I streamed it a little bit just to kind of see what I've got in store for me. And I got to say, so far the vibes are kind of like sad synth pop. Anyway, I wanted to talk about new releases that I've bought so far in 2024. I'm a little late on this. I wanted to do this like per quarter. So I'm only just a little late. It's still only April. These are all four of the records that I'm about to talk about all came out in the first quarter of the year. So they all came out before the end of March. And they're the only four new releases that I've bought so far this year. I'm trying to be more intentional about that. I am finding that streaming is actually satisfying enough for me in many cases. So kind of a project that I've been doing is I've been streaming more new stuff at work while I'm at work or while I'm in the car, notating, I'm documenting like what new releases I've listened to, and I'm going ahead and giving it like a review. And I'm just doing it on a 1 to 10 scale, and I'm putting it down on a note on my phone. And I'm going to share all of the albums that I've listened to for this year so far. But so yeah, there are a lot of other records that have come out, and I don't feel the need to buy every single one in physical format. The ones that I've bought so far happen to be my favorites so far in the year. The first one that I bought was Wall of Eyes by The Smile. Now, the first Smile album, I didn't take to immediately. I almost kind of resisted it because I've never really been a huge fan of really any of the Thom Yorke solo projects or even the offshoot bands that he's been a part of. I do like Johnny Greenwood's work as a composer, you know, scores of films and things like that. But I've just never really been into Radiohead side projects or solo projects as a whole all that much. So I was kind of resistant to the first Smile album initially. And then I finally gave it a chance, and man, I just was not disappointed. Really, really beautiful, fantastic record. Is it akin to Radiohead? Yeah, a little bit. I think this one is far more experimental than the first record. Just as far as arrangements go, melodies, but all in all, to me, there's more of just kind of a general art rock vibe on this record. And I think that's the thing that I love about it the most. It's also a little bit more succinct, even though some of the track times run a little long. Just the fact that there's only really, 8 songs, it kind of helps like absorb it a little bit better, at least for me. And it's one that I just keep going back to the well for, over and over again this year. I absolutely love this album. I would say favorite songs are Read the Room and Bending Hectic. But yeah, Wall of Eyes, The Smile, good stuff. Okay, so the next one that I got this year was The Past Is Still Alive by Hurray for the Riff, Raff, the project of Alinda Segarra. I'm a big fan of her music. I really got into her on her 2014 album, I believe it's 2014, Small Town Heroes. I had sampled some of her earlier work, which was a lot more straightforward, kind of Americana, country, folk influenced music. Over time, She has kind of expanded her sound. She really expanded it on The Navigator, which was her album that came out in 2017. It was probably still like my favorite record that came out that year. It was a concept album of sorts. Her last one, Life on Earth, was again top 10 of the year for me. I think an outstanding record. So here we get back, and I think she's, you know, selling it with the hat here, but we get back a little bit more to a rootsier, more pure kind of Americana sound. It's still a little bit more modern, and I would say leans a little bit more, you know, to that kind of like indie alternative world of Americana. She's one of those artists that with every subsequent release, she just improves her craft, you know, her songwriting craft. Especially lyrically. I feel like she is one of those writers that really gets into the details. She's a gifted storyteller. I think she would probably make a fantastic novelist. I mean, I know that they're different methods for sure, different art forms for sure, but the way that she crams the amount of detail that she does into a 3.5-minute song, I would say that she could probably go long form as well. But yeah, that's what my favorite thing about this album is. And you really feel like you're kind of going on like a road trip through America, through her stories, through her characters. She was a bit of a vagabond in her younger days. I think she ran away from home as a teen, I believe. So this album was produced by Brad Cook. I think it was recorded really quickly, and it feels that way. You know, it feels raw, it feels live. I believe it was recorded. Not all of it, but I believe a lot of it was recorded live. But yeah, The Past is Still Alive. Hooray for the Riff Raff. I can't recommend this album enough, guys. So for a nice segue, speaking of Brad Cook, Waxahatchee, Tiger's Blood. Here you see a nice Tiger's Blood snow cone there. This is the follow-up to her album St. Cloud, which came out in 2020 and was like my favorite album of that year. This one follows a little bit more of kind of the same vein of that record, although I would say this one rocks a little bit more. This one also has a little bit more of a live band feel to it. So along with production from Brad Cook, you have his brother Phil on the album. Spencer Tweedy plays drums. And then MJ Linderman was brought in for, I believe initially only for like 1 or 2 tracks. And then it went so well that she just asked him to stick around for the whole session. And so he plays pretty much on the rest of the record. Even though there were fantastic songs on the last record, and maybe even song for song, maybe a little bit better as a collection. It's very direct. That's another thing that I'll say about Linda Segarra's songwriting, as well as Katie Crutchfield, is that they're very detailed lyrics. They don't seem to be hiding anything, locked away in mystery. There's no, it's not flowery language, like just to be flowery. It's not like buried in similes and metaphors. There are metaphors, of course, but they aren't obtuse, you know? They make sense, clever turn of phrases, and everything is relatable, immediately relatable. You don't really feel like you're having to like search for deeper meaning. I really gravitate towards songwriters that just don't beat around the bush, right? And I think that that's exactly what's happening on this record. I think that's what's happening on Hurray for the Riff Raff's latest record. But yeah, this is outstanding with an incredible band. And then the last album that I'm going to talk about is Letter to Self by Sprints. Sprints is out of Ireland. Post-punk, this post-punk revival that's been happening for, I don't know, since 2020, I guess, has spawned a lot of bands with different identities. But they're really pulling from the well of the past. Some bands modernizing it a little bit more than others. And I think that this band is kind of lumped in with that whole thing, mostly because this post-punk revival is by and large happening over in the UK. This is purely something different. First of all, it's more direct. It's less art rock. It's all based in pure and raw emotion. It pulls from like different styles of punk, hardcore, post-punk, heavy, booming, sustaining guitar. There's also that kind of like rhythmic guitar playing that you would hear, you know, in bands like Gang of Four. As heavy and as in your face as it can be sometimes, it's also very melodic. The guitars can soar at times. It really kind of reminds me in places of like the first Block Party album, Silent Alarm. So frontwoman Carla Chubb is really kind of the appealing thing to me about this record. She's so dynamic. So yeah, the guitar work is outstanding. Look, there's a lot of things about this that are not really purely original, but I don't think that's really the point. I think just what they do it really, really well. Don't write this album off just because of maybe some of the things that you read about it or the comparisons that you read about it. It really does stand on its own and its own merit. And I think it's an outstanding record. I think that maybe they're one of those bands that might not be getting the respect that they deserve. I know that there's like a bit of divisive conversation happening online about Sprints, but I think a lot of that has to do with just the timing of when this album came out, more so than anything else. But yeah, Letter to Self by Sprints, outstanding. Definitely one of my favorites of the year so far.
I can see what I'm feeling. I can feel that I'm sinking. Yeah, the water is freezing, and I want to go. Never call me but beautiful. They only call me insane. They never call me but beautiful. They only call me insane. 'Cause now I'm living blindly and painful, and I'm going insane. They never call me but beautiful. They only call me insane.
Anyway, getting some really weird lighting right here. Non-chin there, guys. How about that? Let's point out a lot of my flaws. Point out my flaws. How old I look for a young whippersnapper at 45. It seems that some of you have not caught on to the fact that I'm quite the smartass. Clearly, people thought that I was being serious, that I was seriously concerned about people doing acid in the VC. I don't give a shit if they are. Where I fooled people was that I invoked my children. But let's be very clear. I might include my children in my videos from time to time, but I would never like use them as like a, hey, don't fuck with my kids with your irresponsible behavior. Like, I'm not that kind of dad. Like, I don't do that shit. Sorry. I'll try to be a little bit more obvious in my sarcasm. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. We'll see you in the next video. All right, later.
Digital gramophone makes no sense.